People think of who runs schools, they think of the administrators and principals as making the most impact, but there's some individuals on a higher level shaping education for students all around our district. Hello, and thank you for joining me for this special edition of This is Arlington. I'm Noah Certion. Now, this episode is going to look a little different from our normal newscast as we're spotlighting a very important person in our district. Now, you might not see this person every day, but they might make an appearance every now and then on social media. Right now, I'm pleased to be joined here with Dr. Allison Clark, Superintendent of Arlington Community Schools. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I know it's a busy time as we're about to wrap up this part of the quarter, but we really appreciate you coming on to talk to us. Well, I know this role came unexpected to you at the beginning of the school year with the passing of Mr. Mayo when he stepped down to battle cancer. Just tell us what went through your mind when you became the interim superintendent and then officially becoming the superintendent.
Well, honestly, it was so shocking that I was just, at that time in the beginning, I was just trying to oversee HR like I normally do, but I felt at that moment it was very important that I take total control because there was not a leader like I have had in the past, Mr. Mayo, there to collaborate with. And then when the board asked me to step in the role of superintendent, there was a time period that I was operating in both positions simultaneously at that time. It was just such an unfortunate circumstance and a shock that it took me time to get over that, but then I knew what my focus needed to be. And I knew that I had the responsibility to continue with the education of students, to support all of our employees and to help them through that time. And that's the board entrusted me to do that. And that was my focus. And that's what I stayed focused on every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know Mr. Mayo, he was with the district for 10 years since the inception of the district, really. And I know that had to be a shock to anyone at the district level. But just tell us, how hard was it, kind of transitioning from that role in HR, because you've been doing that since about 2021, and then all of a sudden you switch to the superintendent. How hard was that adjustment for you?
Fortunate for me, when I look at my career, I started out and I had no plans of ever becoming a superintendent or even chief of HR. I probably at that time I didn't even think about administration. And so when I first started teaching high school mathematics, I went into that role. Then I was assistant principal and vice principal at the high school level. And I was the mathematics supervisor for Shelby County Schools when we had about 50 schools that was K through 12. And after serving that role, I served a decade as the principal at Arlington Middle School and then the HR. So having those opportunities throughout my career honestly prepares you for a position that I'm in now. Not to say that I know everything. I'm learning things every single day. But that's what makes us stronger as people when we continue to learn and grow. And that's what helped me, is to have had those experiences to be able to serve in this capacity.
Mm-hmm. And you've been on the job now for a couple of months, almost have a whole school year under your belt. How's it been? How have you been enjoying it?
I absolutely love it. I really do. I would say it's wonderful to provide these type of opportunities to our students because, as most of you know, I'm a senior. And as a mom, I want the very best for him. So I look at everything I do in the lens of that mother. And I look at all of you as my children because I'm responsible for you during the day. Yeah. And I'm responsible for making sure the opportunities that you have fulfill your dreams, your post-secondary education, and whatever you do, whether it's college, career, service, I want to do all I can do to start at pre-K and matriculate it all the way up so you can fulfill your dreams and your wants. And it's exciting to me because I spend the majority of my day in the schools or activities because I want to see all of you enjoy those opportunities. And so when I spend the majority of my day, then all the behind the scenes work comes outside of that daytime. But that's what gives me the breath of fresh air. That's what makes it such a wonderful opportunity to see all of you engage and doing things that you enjoy. And when I see you do things like this, it gives me confidence and reassurance that you are ready for your next steps into college or a career or service. You are ready to serve in that. And I have confidence you'll be leaders. You'll be leaders at these universities, and I hope they'll be wowed by you and the way we've prepared you.
Yeah, because I know I've heard and I've talked to a lot of people, and they've always said they see Dr. Clark all the time around the school, and they really appreciate, having a name with a face. They know you, but seeing you in the district, seeing you around the schools, they really appreciate that for you. But I just want you, for people that don't know exactly what a superintendent does, kind of just break that down. What exactly do you do?
Well, I could take today. I started off today at the high school. I had a meeting with Mr. Davis and Mr. Ruff. He's our chief of operations. And we want to do some upgrades for the gym in terms of basketball and the locker rooms for the volleyball and the basketball and one wrestling area. And so we're collaborating and we're looking at quotes and prices and planning and budget to get that done, and when can we do that and not interrupt the sports and the programs. So that was one piece, and then after I finish that, then I go back to my office and I meet with a couple of people to review over HR, because right now the main focus is budget and staffing and planning for next year. That's where the focus is right now. So I spend time doing that, and then I had to call a vendor about a contract and go over contract. Then I have to come back over here, and I'm spending time with all of you here. And then I'll go back and wrap up. So my days can vary. I always love having time to spend at the schools, and I got to see Pi Day today as well when I was here earlier. But then I have to fill in those areas, and then they linger on to the nights of doing the behind the scenes that takes place. A lot of my job is funding. I have to look at that funding and balance that budget, and there's reports that go to the state that I have to approve, and it's authorizing for the district that we are spending those funds and allocating them accordingly. There's so many things that comprise of a superintendent. You have to always be mindful of the laws and the regulations. And right now we're in legislation, and there's bills that are being posed and passed. And then so when those get passed and they become a law, then that can impact the policies. And so I have to work with our general counsel on adapting the policies to meet the needs. So it can go on and on and on. And then, of course, we got the night activities that I like to enjoy. And we got softball and baseball now for the middle school and the high school, along with the soccer. So.
Yeah, I can just imagine so many early mornings, so many late nights. I don't know how you do it, but you do such a great job doing it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I enjoy it, and you have to enjoy it. You have to have a passion for it. And if you don't enjoy it and you don't have a passion for it, then it probably could be a little bit more challenging.
Exactly. So I know you were talking about sports and some of those projects and stuff. What have been some other goals that you've wanted to see the district achieve so far this year?
The main area, and I've been proud, not only in the sports, but I've been very proud in our fine arts and performing arts, because, we have a student that has her artwork on a billboard around Jackson, Tennessee, and I was able to go one Sunday afternoon and see them earn their awards, and it's great. I always want to make sure that all of our programs that we have are at a level that really helps the student grow. My vision this year for the district was to show to the community and the businesses in the areas that we are truly preparing our students for post-secondary education. And so at a chamber luncheon that I had earlier this year, I had the student panels there from the BioSTEM, the machinery, the media, the work-based learning. And what they were doing in the health science is they were sharing their experiences they've had in high school and how they have been able to go into the field and actually utilize and do more hands-on. We made a partnership with IKEA, and I think you've been on some of their field trips, and they've come to us, and that's another aspect of really giving students experiences beyond, so when they go to college or career service, they're ready. What I want to see happen with that is we have a lot of great things happening from pre-K or elementary and our middle that flow right into the high school programs. So next year I will be working with the principals and the district office staff, showcasing how that we begin at the early stages and it matriculates up, and this is how we prepare them for high school to be able to handle those experiences.
Yeah, so I know it's going to sound like a lot of interesting things coming up ahead this next year. I want to get your opinion. I want to get some hot topics for you. Let's talk some hot topics for a quick second. So earlier this year in the special legislative session, Governor Bill Lee wanted to push school vouchers. And for our viewers who don't know about that, that would mean that money going to public schools would be taken to families to go to private schools. And that would take money away from public schools here. I know when Mr. Mayo was the superintendent, he spoke out against that bill. I just want to get your take on that. What do you think about that bill?
Well, I'm a public educator leader. I believe in public education. People make choices. That's fine if they make choices. I'm not for taking funding from public education and put it in private schools. Main reason is I mentioned earlier that a lot of my time is spent on budgeting, allocations, signing off with documents to the state that we are using the funds for the purposes they've been allocated for. We're held to high accountability standards by the state. Private schools are not. So private schools will receive that money, but when we receive that money, we have to consistently validate that we're using that money for the intended purposes. Our students have to be assessed. They grade us based on the results of students. So we are underneath an accountability factor for those funds, but they will not. And honestly, that I believe deep in my heart with everything we have in this district, what do they have that we don't have? And oftentimes we have a lot more to offer our students. So I'm just a believer in public education. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for students, and I don't support public school funding to go to private schools. And also the state, they put expectations upon us. They put things into law, as I mentioned earlier, and we must abide by them. And sometimes they don't always, most often, they don't give us the full funding for the expectations they expect us to implement.
Yeah, so it's kind of different, like how they're kind of based off of public schools and private schools pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, so also a big topic, especially here in the Memphis area, the drama at Memphis Shelby County Schools. I know you've heard a lot about that, and really the problem with them is about the board and the superintendent kind of against each other. I just want to get your take on, why is it so important to have a good working relationship with your school board?
Well, it's extremely important. We have, and I'm saying this honestly, we have a fabulous Board of Education. We have 5 board members on that board who truly, they believe in public education. They either have children in the school system now, or they have had children most recently graduate from our district. So once again, that puts more passion in it, and they are passionate about it, and not just for their own personal reasons with their children, but just they're passionate about public education. Having a superintendent having a strong relationship with their board is essential. I probably talk to all my board members once a week. Text, call, meet in person. I just met with our board chair last night. We have to review what's coming up on the agenda. I share with our Mr. Scott Benjamin as our board chair, so I will share with him, not that I have to, but I share with him things that we're looking at, what I'm looking in the future, some things I'm looking at purchasing. I don't have to share some of those things with them, but I do because I think it's important to keep your board informed. Weekly, I share with them about things that are going on. I give them a monthly report and I share with them my initiatives. I share them the highlights of all of you in the district. And I also include events that are coming up in the school that they are welcome to attend, because I think it's important, because if they're in the schools, like I'm in the schools, they see, because they're responsible for making the policies and improving the funding. Those are some of their major keys in hiring the superintendent. So if they see what all that work is going towards, it's very valuable. So I definitely think it's extremely important to have a board where the superintendent and the board work together collaboratively for the success of children. And I'm just fortunate to have a wonderful board.
Yeah, you don't hear about a lot of the stuff that happens there with us, which we're really fortunate to hear about.
Yes, we are extremely fortunate.
Yeah, and for a lot of our viewers, they've had you for at least a principal during their time in middle school, and they know that if they hear heels clacking down the hallway or if they see a pantsuit, they know it's Dr. Clark. And I guess, is that kind of like your style that you've had pretty much now, pretty much?
I guess. I mean, I just believe that you always should look and be professional. Mm-hmm. And I truly take pride in the fact that I represent the school district. So when I was a principal, I represented Arlington Middle School. When I was chief of HR and I would go out and recruit, I'm representing Arlington Community Schools. I'm trying to get the best teachers there, the best educators to come and want to be a part of our school district. So now as the superintendent, I represent the entire school district. So it's important to me. I always believe professionalism is important. So, professional dress goes right along with that.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, those different colored pantsuits and everything, that's just like your style pretty much now. All the time, like every single color that you can think of. I know you have a pantsuit that color. All right, well, we're going to talk more with Dr. Clark coming up after the break. We're going to dive more into her life before education after the break. Stay with us.
Did you know paying attention in class makes you 40% more likely to remember what you learn? But if you're glued to your phone instead, not so much. And what you eat, it matters. Junk food leads to brain fog and low energy, while nutritious foods boost focus and mood. Exercise? It's a game changer, but too much screen time in a dark room? Yeah, that's a fast track to low motivation. Alzheimer's can start developing decades before symptoms appear, but healthy habits today can protect your mind for the future. So start now. Your future self will thank you.
All right, well, welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation now with Dr. Clark. Earlier we talked with her about her life as a superintendent and that transition to that role, but now I want to talk to you about your life before education. So just tell us, where did your love for education and schooling come from?
So when I look back, I think about in high school, I was a freshman, I was taking algebra. I could always easily do math. I liked it. It came easy for me. Not everybody in my class it came easy for. I would help my friends. And then the teacher, she asked me, she goes, Allison, help, and she asked me to help other students in the class. And I would. And so from there, I liked it. I liked teaching other people. I think it was one of these things of something I could do and not everybody could do, but I could explain it. And I just continue that passion for teaching and explaining. I thought about being an accountant. I thought about being an engineer because that's math-based, but I always came back to teaching because I just felt that was my love. That was my passion, to work with people and be around students and do that.
Yeah, you're just a really special person because math is not my thing. Even when we started doing algebra solving for X, I was like, I can't do that. But that is good for you. You could do math.
It was job security for me.
Right. Yeah, it had to be for that part. Well, I know from the time you were in school, just talk to us about that evolution of education. How has it changed from the time you were little Allison to where you are now as a superintendent?
It's changed tremendously because when, of course, I was going to school, there were not all this technology that we have become very accustomed to and dependent upon. I mean, I took a computer class, I think, probably my junior and senior year of high school, and those computers at that time were like big boxes. They've changed quite a bit, and so a lot of things that we do that's all technology-based that students become accustomed to, that wasn't of that time period. I look at education, especially in all, I mean, elementary, middle, and especially high, that we're really getting you ready for your next steps. It's more engaging, it's more practical, it's real world, just like right now. We're giving you skills that you can easily use beyond and in a career. In my time, everything was driven by textbook. There wasn't a lot about connecting outside of the world, only what the teacher told you.
Yeah. And I know earlier in the show you were talking about your time in education. You were a math teacher and you really were in that high school and then that middle school phase as a principal. But now as a superintendent, you're dealing with all 4 schools. You're going to the elementary schools. And I know that was a time where you really were in elementary school education at that time. I guess, how is it for you interacting with the little kids? How special is that to you?
Well, you know, one experience I had in my career is when I served as the mathematics supervisor for Shelby County Schools, and we had about 50 schools at the time. Elementary was part of that. So I had to supervise the math instruction for elementary. And so at that point in my career, I had to become familiar and work with elementary teachers and collaborate with them on their needs of curriculum. And through that did expose me to elementary. Now I'll have a different lens of it is going in there, and I love it. I mean, what's neat is because I've known a lot of you throughout your time of growing up through our district. And so I've seen you mature and grow up, and I see what happens. And then when I see the little ones, I think, oh, they're going to grow up and be big kids in our high school as well. And I love them. I think they're fun. I just love their innocence. I mean, you never know what they're going to say to you. One of them said, he looked at me and he goes, "Do you work here?" I said, "Yes, I do." And they're neat, they're fun. But I'm going to tell you, it takes a very special, skilled person to teach elementary, especially kindergarten. You're teaching children, they don't know how to do a whole lot. I mean, in high school, we know you all know how to come in, sit down, start working, engage. But that elementary, especially in the lower grades, it's a whole different skill set. And I respect the teachers who are able to teach them and really grow them. It's amazing to me when I go visit the classrooms in elementary, especially in those lower grades.
Yeah, everybody says it's always a special calling to do elementary school because I'm just thinking, teach them how to tie a shoe, help them with snacks, almost everything like you're their third parent.
And they educate them. I mean, it is amazing what the teachers are teaching them. I mean, they're reading text in kindergarten. I mean, it is amazing what they're teaching them. And I always tell them, and I said, not only are you educating, you're teaching them how to walk and chew bubble gum.
Pretty much.
You're teaching everything to them. So
Everything.
I respect them very much.
Yes, I really do too. I really appreciate that for them. But I know for you, Arlington, you've been here for quite some time pretty much now. How did you land up on finding Arlington and getting a job with Arlington Community Schools?
Well, I was working for Shelby County Schools, and it's just interesting how I think things have fallen in my career. When I've worked in the schools, I've always worked on the north end of the county. I started out teaching an assistant principal at Bolton High School. Then I was a vice principal, like Miss Maroon, at Millington High School. And then I went to district office, and at that time, Shelby County Schools was in the city of Memphis. And then we were still Shelby County Schools. That's when I interviewed, and the superintendent, Mr. John Atkin, placed me at Arlington Middle School as the principal. Well, during that decade of being a principal, we merged into one large system with Shelby County, Memphis City, and then we demerged in 2014, and we were a municipal school district. So I came as a Shelby County employee. At 1 year I was a Shelby County, Memphis City employee, and then the next, and until now, and including now, I've been an Arlington Community Schools employee. But I've always been in this area of the county.
Yeah. Now, what about Arlington made you want to stay here for so long?
I love it. I mean, it's just that community feel. It's, it's just like anybody, they feel comfort in home. And Arlington's home to me. It's that community feel. I've made a lot of connections and made a lot of relationships, and very great ones with a lot of people and leaders in our community. And I just like it. I feel comfortable here, and I feel that I can truly serve the community in this capacity, and I love it. I enjoy it. I have a passion for it.
Yeah, and you've really been able to have a community here, raise a family here, all that. We do have a special guest actually here on the show joining us today. Come on out.
Oh, no.
What's up, Mom?
Brandon, I guess you're gonna go ahead and get comfortable for a second. We're gonna talk to Brandon and Dr. Clark after the break, talking about their life, motherhood, everything. Stay with us.
Okay, y'all played a trick on me. That's not fair.
Right.
Did you know paying attention in class makes you 40% more likely to remember what you learn? But if you're glued to your phone instead, not so much. And what you eat, it matters. Junk food leads to brain fog and low energy, while nutritious foods boost focus and mood. Exercise, it's a game changer, but too much screen time in a dark room? Yeah, that's a fast track to low motivation. Alzheimer's can start developing decades before symptoms appear, but healthy habits today can protect your mind for the future. So start now. Your future self will thank you.
All right, welcome back. We mastered the plan, y'all, getting Brandon onto set. I know, Dr. Clark, while we're in the break, I know you got a little teary-eyed, a little emotional at that part when Brandon surprised you. I guess you've had Brandon with you in the district since second grade. How has that been, having your own son here with you all the time in the district?
Well, I'm sure he has a different perspective on that than I do. As I mentioned earlier, and I really mean this with sincerity, is having a student, your child, in the district really, to me, I think it puts a different perspective versus if you didn't. Because, I am his mom. He does come home and talk. I hear different things. And in my planning and what I want for his future, I apply that to all areas. And I know that parents want the same for their own children. So that's just, it gives a different perspective on it, is what I look at it. And it's a good one. It's a positive one for me.
Yeah, I know you call it that kid test that you do all the time.
The mama test.
Mm-hmm.
Mama test.
Right, and for Brandon, for you, you've had your mom at Arlington Middle. You were actually at Arlington Middle when she was your principal, and now this year, your senior year, she's your superintendent and you're still in school. I guess, does that put any sort of pressure or anything on you having her at the district in these high-level capacities?
I mean, not really. I don't really think about it. Just try to act like a normal student.
You just go along with it and just act like
Yeah, I just act like she's a parent, normal parent.
Mm-hmm. Has she ever come up to you and surprise you in class?
Yeah, she did today.
Literally.
Yeah, she came into economics and woke me up.
Woke you up. Man, if my mom did that, I would have been so embarrassed if that happened.
He was.
But I know you enjoy it.
I haven't done it to me. That's only second time this year. Mr. Davis and I, every once in a while, when I'm over here, we think it's kind of fun to bother Brandon a little bit and surprise him.
It's funny, though. I know it's funny. I know you hate it, but it's probably really funny if you see videos. I know it has to be funny. Well, I know for you, Dr. Clark, your career is very demanding as a principal and even as a superintendent. They're pretty high demanding jobs. How is it trying to balance a family and balance your personal life? Because I know you're talking about those long hours. How hard is it to try to find that balance for you?
Earlier in my career, when I was a principal's demanding as well. I describe being a superintendent is like being a principal, but it's on steroids.
Right.
It's quite a bit more. When I was a principal, it was tough being a mom and making sure Brandon's needs were fulfilled because he wasn't as independent as he is now. He couldn't drive himself to soccer practice and soccer games and everything like that. So I was trying to be the principal and fulfill that role and then get him to soccer practice and do all the work, because it does not end when the school day ends for leaders. It continues on and on. So it was challenging through those years. It was tough, but as a mom, I just did what I had to do, and I chose to serve in the role of principal, so I had to embrace it and make it work. As a superintendent, he probably hasn't seen me much this year. I come in late. He even says, Mom, you work some long hours. And he knows I do, but fortunate, I can honestly say this, as far as I know, he's a good kid. He's responsible. He takes care of himself. I don't know, maybe I need to survey. But he's into golf, and I've supported him in that as much as I can, and provide him the resources so he can fulfill his dreams and do that as he wants to do at the college level. So him doing what he needs to do and being independent and responsible, it has helped tremendously, especially this year, because it's been a lot to juggle.
Yeah, I know it's tough, but I saw that little smirk Braden did over there. Maybe you got to go through that phone, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I need to start investigating at home.
Right, I'm not giving any ideas. I promise I'm not giving any ideas. But for Brandon, I know this year you committed to Christian Brothers University to play golf, and I know for the longest time you were involved in soccer. Just tell me, how has your mom supported you throughout your athletic career and just being a mother your whole life?
Her and my dad have always driven me to all my games and have come to all my tournaments for soccer. And they'd always wait there till practice is over, make sure I had everything I needed, make sure I had new cleats, make sure I had new clothes for soccer. And then for golf, make sure I have new golf balls when I need, and then make sure I get fitted for clubs. They've supported me through my whole entire high school career for everything I need, so.
Yeah, and I heard that you transformed your whole garage into a little practice studio for Brandon with golf.
He did that.
Yeah, I took the single car garage and made it a golf simulator. So
some pretty serious dedication, and then for you to allow that just kind of shows you really value his craft.
Well, that's his passion. And, I would rather him be focused at golf than other things that he could be focused on. But, I know that my parents supported me, and I know I admire Brandon at his age to be so focused and so dedicated. So I feel like that's the least I can do as a parent, is to support him.
Yeah, and Brandon, he's playing on the collegiate level. I guess, how proud are you of him for this big accomplishment? Because it's not every day you hear of a student that plays at that big level, but how proud are you of your own son with achieving this?
I'm extremely proud of him because he has achieved this in a short period of time. He picked up a golf club, or they were my old golf clubs, and he broke them in his freshman year. And so from there, he continued. And he was very, very focused. He's diligent. He does it every single day, and he practices until it's dark. And I see that. And so I'm very proud, because overall in life, you set a goal, and the only way you're going to accomplish that goal is through hard work and dedication. And sometimes, and I know he'll tell you, sometimes it always doesn't go the way you want it to go. Well, that's what happens in life. Even when you work really, really hard and you're dedicated, sometimes it doesn't always go that direction. God has a different plan for you. But from that, you can learn. And I feel confident that he has learned a life skill through golf.
Yeah, and Brandon, your mom, she supported you so much. She's done so many things for you. Is there anything that you want to leave your mom with before we close out today?
Thanks for supporting me through all the things I need throughout life, and thanks for being my number one supporter.
Give him a hug.
See, it's so cute to see that, that mother-son bond. Even it's the same off-camera and on-camera, y'all's dynamic. It's so fun to see. And then, is there anything you want to leave Brandon with before we close out?
No, I just, like every parent in this district, I love him to death, and there's not a thing I wouldn't do for him. So I know that the other parents and all y'all's parents feel the very same way about you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Dr. Clark. I know it's a busy time for you. We really appreciate you coming on the show. And thank you, Brandon, for getting out of study hall to come surprise your mom today. I know she appreciates it. We all do too. Thank you all so much again.
Thank you.
All right, well, that does it for us here on This is Arlington. Remember to turn on post notifications to find out when we release new episodes. And don't forget, This is Arlington is taking a road trip. Stay tuned to our YouTube page because you don't want to miss where we go. Thanks for watching. Be good to yourselves and others. We'll see you next time. Take care.